Muyeol with the cross. Ah, yes! And it's the man who missed the penalty who scores the winner. What a story! And Jung Hwan.
You're listening to the K-League United podcast, proud partner of Football Nation Radio.
Hello, annyeonghaseyo. Welcome to the K-League United podcast. Matthew Binns here, and I am joined by a man who spent most of the build-up to the 2002 World Cup reminding everyone that David Beckham once played for Preston North End. It's Paul Neat.
Hello, yes, and I still do, actually. Did I play Preston North End one day?
Yeah. Did play once for 5 games, I believe, but not very long.
Scored 2 though. Scored 2.
Mm-hmm.
One from a corner, straight from a corner.
After England's defeat yesterday, I'm sure you're still talking about it. I'm sure you're still claiming that, Paul. And we're also joined from kickoff once again by our very own Jung Muyeol, who in June 2002 was trying to focus on his schoolwork, I'm sure, as Korea celebrated around him. Hi, Muyeol.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you. Yes, as I've just alluded to, not sure how much of a boast David Beckham having played for Preston actually is, Paul, given yesterday's result for England after they crashed out of the 2002 World Cup, losing 2-1 to Brazil. Did you catch it?
I caught the first half, and then I fell asleep because it was a 7:30 a.m. kickoff in England, and. Now, 7:30 a.m. isn't really that early, really, in the grand scheme of things. But when you're 16 years old and you're lazy, like I then it was very early. So I remember watching the first half, bleary-eyed, just like trying to stay awake, listening to the commentary, like, I'm so tired, this is painful. And then, obviously, England scored first. I'm like, all right, I'm awake. Then we conceded just before half-time, wasn't it, I think?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I thought I'll have a little half-time nap. Just 10, 15 minutes, a little power nap. I woke up to the sound of Ronaldinho scoring. And then I turned it off. Bang. That's it. Back to bed.
Yeah. I think, as I've alluded to, this was this game we were allowed to come in late for school on this one. We could watch it at home if we'd signed a note. But yeah, I'm not sure how aware of England's troubles you were, Muyeol, because obviously you were basking in Korea's success. You know what it's like to get to a semi-final at this point, anyway. Did you? Speaking of, though, I mean, we've talked about what you recall of Korea. How much do you recall of the other games going on at the time?
Well, I quite recall most of the games in the knockout stage because the group stage there are too many games to remember. But like from group stage, I remember most of the games, particularly those games played in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And also I remember.
Sorry, go on.
Pardon? I remember the Ronaldinho free kick goal against England.
Lead boots himself.
Yeah. Oh dear, I tried to forget, but yes. Well, actually, speaking of just actually players from 2002, we've seen a lot on show at this World Cup. But who are your favourite players at this point in your life, going into the World Cup? Which players internationally, not just your club? So, Paul, you can keep the Preston deep cuts away.
I liked a lot of the Dutch players at the time. I actually bought the Dutch shirt, the Holland shirt for the World Cup. I like Zenden. I used to play on the left side, so I was a Zenden fan. But like anybody, I like the Brazilians. But I tend to like players who are not the obvious choice. So I didn't like Ronaldo particularly, but I like Rivaldo and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho had not quite become the superstar that he became at this point. He just moved to Barca. So I like those players in particular. Who else was the Italian team? I used to like Maldini as well. Big fan of a lot of the Italian players. But I can't say I knew any of the Korean players, to be honest. I didn't even watch a single group stage game. I don't think. Well, if I did, I don't remember it.
Yeah, I remember watching Korea Portugal definitely at the time because Korea going to go through possibly in Portugal, big deal. But Muyol, like which players were you? Which players did you favour worldwide at that point in your life?
Well, to be honest, I didn't really follow the international football
Hmm.
as much as I do, but just had I had some soft spot for like Dennis Bergkamp.
Oh yeah, that's actually who I've got on my list.
Oh, did you? Yes,
Yeah,
and also Ronaldo from Brazil, because I remember watching like a 1998 France World Cup. I was pretty young, but like I got really nice impression from watching the Netherlands play and like the Brazil play in France World Cup.
yeah, indeed. Yeah, I put Bergkamp on mine, but I think my memories of Bergkamp are actually probably more related to the France '98 World Cup, obviously Holland. But 2002 Bergkamp, he's still doing the business for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Not as Yeah, but Bergkamp definitely for me. Anyway, moving on from players who aren't at the tournament right now, we we always like to set the scene of where we are time traveling to. So, a quick look at what's going on in sports news. After England's defeat yesterday, Lennox Lewis retained the boxing WBC World Heavyweight crown with an 8-round knockout over Mike Tyson. And in music, Elvis is back in the charts. Elvis is not dead. Well, he's done a remix with JXL. It's a little less conversation. And that's certainly what England fans will be doing this morning as they nurse their bruised heads. Foolish by Ashanti, saying it every episode, Foolish by Ashanti is still top of the Billboard Hot 100
Banger.
charts. And it's coming under increasing pressure, though. Nelly's Hot in Here has now climbed up to second. And yeah, Scooby Doo, as we mentioned last week, it still continues to lead the box office in the US. Why, I do not know. Anyway, the train has pulled into Gwangju, and while Paul and I come to terms with England's defeat, a jubilant Muyeol is still hazy from the celebrations in Daejeon a few days ago as Korea progressed to the quarterfinals after a dramatic golden goal win over Italy. Word is coming through that the lineups are out, though, Paul.
Yes, I do believe they are. Starting with Spain, we're hearing it's a 4-4-2 with two holding midfield players. Number 1, Iker Casillas in goal. Number 5, Carlos Puyol. 6, and captain Fernando Hierro. Number 20, Miguel Angel Nadal. 15, Enrique Romero. 22, Joaquin. Number 4, Ivan Helguera. 17, Juan Carlos Valeron. 8, Ruben Barahara. Number 11, Javier De Pedro. And number 9, Fernando Morientes. There's 3 changes actually from the round of 16 shootout win over Ireland. Enrique Romero is in at left back for Juan Fran. Ivan Helguera goes up into midfield. Nadal comes in at centre back with Raul missing out. And Joaquin is in for Luis Enrique on the right wing.
So Korea in a 3-4-3 diamond. It looks like Paul. Muyol, would you like to do the honours?
Yes, for South Korea, number 1, Lee Eun-jae. Number 4, Choi Jin-chul. Number 20, Captain Hong Myung-bo. Number 7, Kim Tae-young. Number 22, Song Jong-guk. Number 5, Kim Nam-il. Number 6, Yoo Sang-chul. Number 10, Lee Young-pyo. Number 21, Park Ji-sung. Number 19, An Jung-hwan. And number 9, Seol Gi-hyun. So no change from the side which beat Italy in the round of 16.
Okay. Muyol, after that Italy result, you must be feeling confident ahead of this.
Confident? Not really, to be honest.
No?
No, because the Spain they played 2 days before we played the last game, so they rested 2 more days than us, and we played until the extra time. So, and also just Spain is one of the powerhouses in football, so we are not really confident about this ahead of this fixture.
Okay.
So then having, like you said, gone to extra time and not changed the team, was that a surprise for you?
Yeah, to be honest, it was a bit surprising.
Fair enough. Well, as the teams come out onto the pitch, we can see Kim Tae-yong there wearing a mask after the elbow that he took in the Italy game. If he was faking then that is genuine commitment to the ruse, that's for sure. But what I want to talk about actually is the commentators became a little bit obsessed with average heights of each team. Before the very first group stage game against Poland, they were commenting how much taller the opposition were compared to Korea. In this game, a graphic flashed up on screen as the teams were coming out, and it said that Korea were 179.5 centimeters on average. Spain started taller at 181.6. But in 2018, if we stop pretending it's 2002 just for a second, Korea's average height was 182.2. That's actually taller than the national average of 178.9. So Korea football players have grown a lot in the space of 16 years, it seems.
Yeah,
I thought that was quite interesting. Yeah, there you go.
Tactics for the Russia World Cup.
That's it.
Stretch
Just
them.
make everybody taller.
It's Kim Shin-ok. He pulled the whole average up.
There you go.
There you go.
That's it. That's what it was. But in terms of average age, both Spain and Korea for this game were exactly 27.1.
Yeah, and we get underway. Korea, they start off confident, probing, even trying to get into the channels to feed the two strikers, and they're playing in a way that shows why they deserve to get to the quarters in the first place. Kim Nam-il goes off early. Eel Young comes on in the 32nd minute. Not a lot happening though in this first half. 44th minute, I guess Spain woke up a little bit with Zhao Kun bursting forward, beating a handful of players, but was prevented from going any further by the time he got to the edge of the box by Song Jong-guk.
Yeah, after the initial confident start, Korea seemed a little bit on the back foot as the half came to a close. Shot by Di Pedro flashes wide, takes a slight deflection though as Hierro comes to close to scoring a header from the resulting corner. That was more or less on the stroke of half time, really.
Okay, so half time 0-0. Muyeol, thoughts on that?
Well, lucky to be level with Spain at halftime. I mean, just Korea looked like a dead on their feet in the first half after the extra time, the playing extra time against Italy. So really lucky not to concede a goal.
Yeah, well, early in the second half, and Spain have a goal disallowed. Barahara is adjudged to have pulled on Kim Tae-yong's shirt. I'm not sure if you saw that one, Muyeol. Was that a foul? Was that harsh? What do you think of that decision?
Well, I don't think it's harsh, to be honest. I mean, like when the attacker gains advantage in penalty area, I think usually they get penalized for minor things too.
Yeah.
So I think this is just fair call to make, I think.
진로를 막았다기보다는 볼에 먼저 발을 들여놓고 자, 프리킥 옵니다. 헤딩! 실점을 하네요. 이게 한 박자에 튕겨 들어가는군요. 파울입니다. 파울입니다. 천만다행입니다. 네네, 밀려서 지금 김태형 선수 등 쪽에 맞고 들어가는 것 같네요. 그렇을까요? 그렇죠. 뒤쪽에서 밀었어요, 김태형 선수를. 그렇군요.
Fair enough. Then 49 minutes, Morientes has a half chance, 6 yards out, but his effort goes wide. He just can't quite get his foot on the ball while under pressure from Hong Myung-bo.
Yeah. Yellow card then for Pedro in the 53rd minute, lashing out at Song Jong-guk. Perhaps a sign of Spain growing in frustration. How has the refereeing been on the whole, do you think, so far, Muyeol?
Well, I think just referees has been doing pretty well until this point, and also that foul on Song Jong-guk was, I think, it deserved a yellow card.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, then we continue on 54 minutes. Park Ji-sung tries to weave his way through on goal. Beats two before Hierro closes him down and punts the ball out for a corner.
Yes, then on 60 minutes, a real real lack of clear-cut chances from both teams, to be honest. Goalkeepers have remained relatively untested. Yu Sang-chul, though, he goes off around this point. Lee Chun-soo comes on. And like he always has done in this tournament, he's caused problems immediately. A nice little 1-2 with Park Ji-sung, who then floats the ball into the 6-yard box. Spain had to be alert for this when Hierro is barking at his teammates, showing that they need to be a little bit more alert, wake up a little bit and be a bit more resolute. Then the first real chance for Korea comes from this resulting corner. Lee Chun-soo's shot is blocked. It's all a bit pinball wizard before the ball drops to Park Ji-sung, who does well to get a shot away, but it's a decent save from Iker Casillas.
송정구의 코너킥. 이천수가 가까이 옵니다. 등 뒤쪽 헤딩. 슛!
잘 때렸는데요.
슛! 맞습니다. 또
이천수의 슈팅, 이을름의 슈팅.
카시아스가 맞습니다.
계속된 두 차례의 슈팅이 말이죠.
카시아스가 또
몸을 맞고 또 카시아스의 선방에 걸리는 그런 아쉬움이죠. 이천수가 잘 때렸거든요. 부열 선수 몸을 맞고 튕겼고요. 이것을 박지성 선수가 가슴으로 볼트래핑 해놓고 오른발 발리 슈팅을 했는데 카시아스의 참 선방.
Yeah, and then Spain, they follow that with hitting the side netting themselves. Joaquin with the shot. It's an interesting moment with the referee playfully grabbing Hiddinck's face. Hiddink had been upset that a throw-in was given to Spain. He felt that Song Dong-guk had kept the ball in.
Yeah, he didn't really react too much either. I would have thought he's mugging him off a little bit there. You know, it was a bit strange. But yeah, fast forward now to around 80 minutes. Spain getting behind. Luis Enrique has half a yard on Kim Tae-young, but Kim recovers well and manages to force Luis Enrique wide. But Kim doesn't feature for too much longer after this, as on 90 minutes he's taken off and Hwang Sun-ong is brought on. Korea clearly either want a goal now or a golden goal in extra time.
Yeah. And Lee Chun-soo has a shot from outside the area. It makes its way through to goal, but Casillas, it's a comfortable save for him. And that's the last action of the half.
Yeah, Muyeol, what are your overall thoughts on the performance over the sort of 90 minutes?
Well, I think just in general, Korea grew into the game, but they really couldn't find a way past Iker Casillas, and well, I think just they really wanted to win this game, but it was almost impossible for them because they were really fatigued.
Yeah, and then into the extra time now as well. Obviously, Korea having gone to extra time again in the Italy game, they have to do it again now.
Indeed, and Spain start brightly, have another goal chalked off. Linesman indicating that the ball went out of play before the cross comes in. Replays show, however, that it did not go out. Harquin's cross was met by Morientes with a towering header. Muyeol, I'm going to ask you again. What did you think of that decision?
This is interesting decision, but I think, well, I mean, this is wrong decision by the linesman. I'm 100% on it. However, but when the linesman raises flag and referee also blows whistle and then players stop playing, so I don't think a player actually can complain about the goal. Their goal chalked off because they just stop playing when the linesman raise the flag and the referee blows whistle. And this is actually when the ball. When the linesman actually runs the line and they see the ball, but they decide the ball if the ball crossed the line entirely or not. This is very interesting because when I also do the linesman sometimes, and when the ball doesn't cross the line entirely, but the players from the bench or the manager from the bench, they just shouted at the linesman and the ball goes out because they know when the ball. They know the ball is out of play when the ball completely cross the line. However, almost like 80% of ball actually gone out of the line. They just shouted. So I think this is pretty much same for the linesman to save his face, to be honest.
Fair enough. Well, a few minutes later, Lee Chun-soo has a free kick, but it goes over. 108 minutes, Morientes hits the post. Mendieta wastes the follow-up chance, and his colleagues asking him why he didn't cut the ball back. Another let-off for Korea. And really not a lot else happens in the second half of extra time, and instead it goes to penalties.
First penalty, Hwang Sung-hong. Hwang steps up, and he's lucky to get it under Cassius, but it's 1-0 Korea.
And from Spain, Captain Yero smashed it to top bin, and keeper goes wrong way, and no chance. It's 1-1.
박지성 선수가 가나요?
Indeed, up next for Korea is Park Ji-sung. He goes for placement, and Casillas doesn't even dive. It's a good penalty, 2-1.
Up for Spain is Ruben Bahara. He steps up and scores, sends E&J the wrong way, 2-2.
And back to Korea, Seol Gi-yeon scores from the spot kick and sends the keeper wrong way, 3-2.
Up next for Spain, Xavi with a delightful little pen to make it 3-3. No mistake there from the Barcelona man.
And Jung Hwan next up for Korea, the hero from the last round, but also missed a penalty against Italy. Can he score here? And he does. It's straight down the middle for 3.
And up to Spain, and this is the moment. So Joaquin Pan is saved, and it remains 4-3.
To win it and to send Korea through to the semi-finals of the World Cup, up steps Captain Hong Young-bo, and top corner, Korea are through. Unbelievable. Muyeol, what are you thinking at this point? Korea have just beaten Spain on penalties. You're in the semi-finals. What's going through your mind?
Marvelous. Couldn't believe what I'm watching at that moment. Just literally unbelievable. Nobody actually would have thought we could progress to the next round after Spain, and just speechless.
Do you remember what you did? Did you run around the house, or run outside, or?
No, I was actually watching this game outside, in front of the big screen with the people. Oh. So I think I was just hugging.
Yeah,
people
anybody.
Around me. Yes, any random.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
All right. Well, we know the reaction from Korea, but how was the reaction in Spain? Someone else who was 14 years old at the time, one FC Seoul captain Osmar, and Paul sat down to speak to the Spaniard to get his reaction of Spain's performance in the World Cup. Don't go anywhere.
FNR is a revolutionary football-dedicated digital platform, the first of its kind in Australia. It provides a 24/7 live online radio platform experience, podcast hub, and acts as a content provider for TV, radio, and digital. Having reached millions of listeners and football fans since launching, FNR is accessible worldwide via its website or app, providing a platform to discuss, debate, and celebrate the world game. We are your voice of football, FNR Football Nation Radio.
All right. Well, Osmar, hello. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for agreeing to talk about this game in particular. But let's start with the same question that we've had for all of our guests. How old were you at the time of this game, and what were you doing? I think you're 2 years younger than me, right? So I'm guessing around 14?
I think, 14. Well, at this age, I don't remember watching the game in live, but I remember watching it afterwards, and reading about all the polemic situations and decisions here and there. Obviously, the Spanish press were on fire after that.
Yeah.
But again, I don't remember watching the game. but surely I was obviously following what was happening, because I started to play for my academy for Racing Santander 2 years early. That means was 100% football on my head for sure.
Yeah.
I was not thinking about anything else.
Yeah. What do you remember about this Spain squad? Who were your favorite players at that point?
I watched again, and to be honest, I had to watch again the highlights and to see what players were there, because it's been such a long time.
Yeah.
And by name, I remember so many great players, but what I'm not sure is if they were in their prime time when they played the World Cup. I know there was Joaquin, Morientes, Raúl, Mendieta, a lot of really, really good players, but I don't remember if they were in prime time. So even though they were good at some point, I can't remember if they were in their best on this time. Anyway, I think now after watching the highlights of a game, I forgot that the captain Hierro, the defender, was there. It seems like he retired so long ago.
Yeah.
And I think he was my first player that I started to follow. Not like nowadays, like you follow everywhere. Obviously, there was no SNS, and it was more difficult to watch games. But he was the first player that I followed. Then I remember I changed to Roberto Carlos when he came to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
But over the years, the more I played as a defender, I realized how good Hierro was. It was a different player of his time, because I think back in the days the defenders had to be tough. They were not asked to play the ball, to have good quality, but being tough and speed and all. And I think he was a little bit different. He was that guy, that tough guy. He was leadership, I think, amazing, but also had the technique and the ability to have a pass, make through passes, changing sides. He even shoot free kicks and PKs. So I think he was the kind of the defender that everybody wants nowadays, when most of the teams want to build up from the back and you need quality defenders. Back then I think he was a top class defender and different for his time.
Yeah, and he played in defence and in midfield as well, didn't he? Because I think in this game he played as a holding midfield player, a bit like you. Can play in both those positions.
Yes. Again, the more I played in this position, I realized how good he was. Because he was such a good defender that if the game was a little bit difficult, they put him as a defensive midfielder in order to try to bring some quality to the game. So it was like looking at the mirror and seeing, somebody did it long ago. Again, when the defenders were not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, looking back at the two tournaments before this World Cup, France 98, Spain were knocked out in the group stages. Then at the next one in Euro 2000, Spain won their group, then lost to France in the quarters. What was the expectation, do you think, heading into the 2002 World Cup? Was Spain supposed to go on and win it? Were they supposed to get to the quarters? From what you remember from back then, what was the target?
I remember we had this curse on us that we couldn't pass the quarterfinals for such a long time, and until I was 2006 that we won. Yeah, I think it was 2006. But before that, it was like, Spain has such a great national team, such a great players. Let's go this year for the win, But somehow before the quarterfinals started, all the press and people were saying, this is it, this is our curse, we will never win. So we kind of accepted it, and I don't know how this how much impact this had in the players. Obviously they are not my generation, but I believe they could feel the fear of failing again and again and again in the same round, in the quarterfinals round, or even before. So it was kind of okay. We knew we were going to lose. We cannot pass through quarterfinals. So yeah, it was. We were always with that mentality. Not a good one, but we failed so many times. It was inevitable to face these rounds with acceptance of losing.
I see. What were your thoughts then, or what do you remember about the reaction to facing South Korea? Because obviously they'd just beaten Italy. Interesting circumstances. Was it seen as, oh, okay, we had this like a curse, but we've got South Korea, not one of the favorites. They are the host nation, but we can beat these. Was that kind of the expectations, or was it sort of, well, yeah, we probably will still lose this?
No, well, actually, on the paper, it's makes you believe that you are going to win. Obviously, Korea was not one of the strongest, apparently. So even though they won Italy before, but yeah, it was like, oh, now we have chance. We are not going to drop in the quarterfinals against Germany, Brazil, Italy. Now we have a chance at least, to go semi-final, and well, let's see what goes after that. But I think a lot of people remember also Italy's game, Italy-South Korea. It was a little bit difficult, bad decisions as well. And we had this in the back of our head, like, okay, they are Korea. They might not be good, but they are the hosts, and maybe they would get some extra help. Who knows? So we have to be aware of that. And I'm sure the plan of the team would be like, maybe the host would get support from fans, maybe extra help from referees. Usually back in the days, when you play home, you always say, oh, I'm playing home, the referee should not make bad decisions against the home team, because they might feel frightened to do that. So even though they knew that, I guess the plan was, we have to win no matter what, like score few goals. And if referee is not good, if the atmosphere is, everything is against us, circumstances, anyway, we will score a few goals and forget, win the game in our style, and no doubt of anything. So I guess that would be the the speech and the plan before game.
Yeah, and obviously went to extra time and then a penalty shootout. It was obviously, when it gets to that point in the game, anything can happen. But what was the reaction afterwards? Was it shock after the sort of all those decisions maybe that didn't go your way, and then going to a shootout? What was your reaction afterwards, or what was your reaction in Spain, do you think?
Yeah, as you said, once you go to the penalties, the quality of the players might not be that important as before. Yeah, obviously you need good players to shoot the PKs, but it's more about who's mentally ready to shoot and step up. And maybe after all the game, fighting against the referee, claiming this was not good, this was not right, this, I don't know, whatever, this was foul, this was all this, fighting against referees. Maybe simply they lost a little bit concentration, or the concentration is needed to face the penalty rounds, the Piquets, and yeah, it was like, okay, we didn't win the game, so now anything can happen. There is no big team or small team anymore here. So well, I think we were hoping, for the Spanish quality players to be sure that they would score the PKs, the goals, and hoping that one of the Koreans maybe shoot out or the keeper would save. But it didn't go that way.
Yeah, and the penalties for Korea weren't that great. They scored all of their 5, but the first one, Hwang Sun-ong, obviously, who you know very well, that one went under the goalkeeper. It was a bit lucky. The others were just kind of hit down the middle. They could have been saved. So it was an interesting shootout in itself. Is that game still talked about in Spain now? Obviously, 20 years later, a little bit of injustice might have been felt back then. Do people still talk about it?
No, not really. I'm sure if you bring the subject up on the conversation, they would remember. But as we had the success after that, it's much more important to talk about the good things. And obviously, because as I said before, we had this curse that we always drop in quarterfinals. I think it's 2016. We became champions. 2010, 2012 Euro Cup too. No, yeah, some.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it was like, okay, curse is finished, and well, we're world champion and Europe champion twice in a row. Nobody will remember this bad game. It was.
Yeah. That's
everybody
had time to win things after that, and put those bad memories behind and make new happy ones. So
everybody remembers Iniesta's goal against Netherlands in the final.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, that game, Korea against Spain, was in Gwangju. When you played there for the first time, were you aware that was the stadium where that game was played?
No, not to be honest. I now I remember seeing some pictures in the wall around the stadium or inside the hallways, but no, I didn't realize. To be honest, I don't think I played many times that stadium, even though I play against Gwangju. But I played in the in a small stadium they had next to the big one, and I was wondering why did we use the small one instead of the big one. I don't know the reasons, but I haven't been inside that stadium many times.
Yeah, I think I actually had a look. It looks like, from what I can see, you played there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So that's not bad. And then obviously last season you played at like you just said, the stadium next door. So it's not quite the same thing. But you have a good record there down in Gwangju for you personally. Yeah, I just wondered because if it was England, say, and I went down there to report on a game and we'd lost at Gwangju or something, I'd be like, oh my God, think about 20 years ago or 15 years ago as it was at the time, what happened in that stadium. But okay, fair enough. All right, well, obviously the World Cup this year is in winter and stuff. We've got a long wait for that, really. Where do you think the Spain squad now, what do you think about their chances of the World Cup this time around?
And I cannot. Of course, I would like them to go as far as they can, but I'm not sure if the members are ready to take on a World Cup. Obviously, they are great players, but we had to change this great generation of players with Xavi Alonso, Xavi, Iniesta, Silva, Villa. Just saying all these names is like, I think our current national team is far away from those players. But I think the coach is great. Luis Enrique is good. He has good tactics, good mentality. He knows what he does. and well, I wish them all the best. But again, I'm not sure if they will have what it takes to go in the knockout against Germany, against Brazil, against such a great teams with huge quality, with huge history of winning. And yeah, sometimes they just their shirt it counts more than yours.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the fixtures now. So your first game, Costa Rica, 1 a.m. time here. That's on the 24th of November. Will you be able to watch that? Let's see. So it's a Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
Well, I don't know where I will be, to be honest, because I think I will not be here. I will be in Spain.
Oh yeah, when does the K-League season finish? Yeah, that's it. Must be.
It's October. End of October.
Okay. Yeah, you're back in Spain then, so that shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah, we still have to wait for the split games schedule to come out.
And maybe the FA Cup final. Who knows?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Down in Busan in a few weeks.
Yeah, they say it's going to end in October. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. You'll be back in Spain then, so it should be a reasonable time for you. All of the England games, for me, are 4 a.m. Apart from one, it's maybe like a midnight game, but 2 4 a.m. games.
So will you wake up early or will you?
I will. I'll have to go to bed and then wake up early again because that's what I had to do in the Euros last summer. I can't stay up. I'm too old now. I can't stay up all night like I used to be able to. I have to wake up early. And then the Korea games are going to be like 10 p.m., which is quite good, but it's a time that I finish work, so I have to drive home. So I'll miss the first half of most of Korea's games, but I don't know. I'm still looking forward to it. It will be strange to have a Winter World Cup, won't it?
Yeah, sure. Don't know how the people will take it, but
yeah. Are you tempted to go? If you can go?
No, I didn't think about that, and in all these years that I've been in Asia, holidays are like really, yeah. I don't go many places during my holidays. It's such a short time, and after my holidays, I know I'm not coming back home in the next over the next 11 months.
Yeah.
So I respect a lot my days off.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, that's fair enough. You want to have a good break from football, even if it's just watching it.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, Osmar, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
Thank you. Cheers.
O.G. Lewis is your neighbourhood British bar and cafe located in the Old Giro district of Seoul. Decorated in old English antiques and furniture for a true homely feel, you can enjoy homemade scones, cakes and afternoon tea during the day, and traditional British favourites like beef stew, English ale, and a fine selection of wines at night. Available for private parties or simply an evening out, O.G. Lewis is sure to become your favourite neighbourhood pub. Be sure to mention K-League United at the bar during your visit and you'll get 10% off your bill.
All right, welcome back to the K-League United podcast where we have just covered Korea's fantastic win against Spain to send them through to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Before we go and have a look at the scores in the other quarterfinals, let's just have a quick few takeaways of the matches so far. It doesn't just have to be this game, of the matches so far. Paul, anything you've taken away so far from this tournament for Korea?
Well, I think not just for Korea, but just in general, we should bring back the golden goal. Bring it back for the 2022 World Cup. Didn't it get? This was the last World Cup that it was used, right?
Yes,
I think so. Yes.
So you should bring it back as a 20th anniversary. Just bring it back once. This is it, and then for the next World Cup, you don't use it again. But just for this one, to see how many games are won in extra time. Because the thing is, Matthew, right, and Muyeol, obviously, is that in extra time in football nowadays, nothing happens in those 30 minutes. The first half, especially, nothing happens. Teams just pass sideways. They don't want to lose. Then there might be a little spell in the second half where the teams suddenly, towards the end, get a little bit of like, oh no, it's going to be a penalty shootout. Let's try and score. But normally nothing happens. Whereas if you have the golden goal rule back, teams are going to go and try and win it. It's going to create open football, not just a waste of 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like watching the highlights, I'd agree. I don't know. Watching these Korea games. I don't know how you did it, Muyeol. Well, England didn't get to experience any extra time in this World Cup, so didn't really have to go through the nerves of it all. But it's the pressure.
But the thing is, as well, with England, there's an arrogance and there's an expectations. We're supposed to win the World Cup. With Korea, you just enjoyed it. No.
Yeah.
No expectations. You just enjoyed the ride. Is that right, Muyeol?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. I mean, we were just like the co-host of this World Cup, and we were under pressure to do really well in this World Cup. I think after we reached the round of 16, I think the player they become okay. Let's do until whatever we can do until we were out of this World Cup. So I think they really enjoy the game. Every single minute on the pitch.
Absolutely, yeah.
Muyeol, anything you've taken away from going back and looking at some of these games?
Well, my takeaway for this World Cup is just this World Cup will be remembered forever in South Korea's people. I mean, it's a fantastic tournament. I mean, in 20 minutes, well, we are now back to 2022, so we are still talking about this World Cup, and we are just commemorating the success in 2002 World Cup. So this is the historic incident that just unite all South Korean people together.
Yeah. Well, I feel bad now because my takeaway is a lot more negative.
What is it?
That's the Korea are rubbish at penalties. I know they've just won. I know they've just scored 5, but they've missed 2 in this tournament. And I was just watching these 5 penalties. The first one was lucky from Hwang Sung-han, and the other ones were nearly all down the middle. I don't know why that's my takeaway. It was just something while watching the game, I was like, these penalties are not very good by Korea, but hey, they're through in the semi-finals, and but yeah, obviously I agree with everything you just said there, Muyeol, and I'm sorry to end this on such a damp note.
Well, I think obviously, but 2002 South Korean team are better at the penalty than Jeonbuk Hyundai, I think.
Just kick me when I'm down. Kick me when I'm down. Yeah.
There we go.
No, that is certainly true. They're better than a lot of things in Jeonbuk at the moment, that's for sure. But we're not in 2022. We're also back at a time when Jeonbuk are rubbish, which is 2002. And in 2002, there is something to look forward to in Korea, as Korea will be going on to the semi-final. Surely that won't be ending on a dampener. But yes, Paul, can you run us through the results in the other quarterfinals?
I'd love to, but there's more bad news, I'm afraid, because on the 21st of June at a 3:30 kickoff in Shizuoka, England lost 2-1 to Brazil despite taking the lead. Michael Owen after 23 minutes, but Rivaldo in the second minute of added time in the first half before Ronaldinho scored 5 minutes after the restart. Later in the day in Ulsan, Germany beat the United States 1-0. Ballack scored the only goal of the game in the 39th minute. And then earlier today, obviously, Spain 0, Korea 0. But then afterwards, in the evening kickoff in Osaka, Senegal 0, Turkey 1. Another golden goal there by Ihan Manziz. So we have the semi-finals set up. 25th of June, 8:30 in Seoul, Germany versus South Korea. And then the following day at the same kickoff time, Brazil versus Turkey in Saitama.
Yeah, exciting times ahead. And that's all from us for this episode. So join us for the next episode in the series, the semi-finals against Germany up in Seoul. Goodbye.
축구의 새로운 역사를 역사의 현장에 우리 국민들은 다 같이 보고 있는 기쁨의 순간입니다.
이것은 한국 축구의 실력이 아닙니다. 한국 축구는